I've been sitting with this case for 3 years. I still can't watch the footage without pausing it. February 2013. A maintenance worker climbs to the roof of the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Guests have complained for days. The water pressure is wrong. The water tastes strange. He opens the hatch of a cistern tank and looks inside. A young woman's body floats in the darkness. According to the recovery report, she's been there for 19 days. I've read the coroner's report. I've walked the halls of that building. I've stood on that roof and looked down at the city she came to explore. What I keep coming back to isn't the water tank. It isn't the theories. It's 4 minutes of elevator footage the LAPD released while she was still missing. Elisa Lam steps into an elevator, presses buttons, all of them. She waits. The doors stay open. She moves strangely, hides in the corner, gestures at something or someone we cannot see. The elevator never moves, and neither can I every time I watch it. The record shows this. Elisa Lam was 21 years old, a student at the University of British Columbia. She traveled alone through California, San Diego, then Los Angeles, posting photos and thoughts on her Tumblr blog. Documents indicate she checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 26, 2013. Her parents expected regular contact. When the calls stopped, they reported her missing on February 1st. The Cecil Hotel sits at 640 South Main Street in the heart of Skid Row. According to historical records, it opened in 1924. Its history reads like a catalog of urban decay. Serial killers stayed there, at least 2, suicides from its windows, overdoses in its hallways. By 2013, the building had been rebranded as Stay on Main, a budget option for backpackers who didn't know the reputation. Elisa knew. She'd written about it. Dark history fascinated her. She booked a room anyway. I pulled her blog posts. She wrote about struggling with depression. Medical records indicate she'd been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and managed it with medication, including Wellbutrin, Lamictal, and other mood stabilizers. Her entries are honest, sometimes painfully so. She wrote about loneliness, about wanting to feel like herself again. She checked in alone. She moved rooms once. Other guests complained about odd behavior. According to available reports, on January 31st, staff saw her in the lobby. After that, nothing. No card swipes, no sightings, no footage except those 4 minutes in the elevator. For 19 days, no one found her. During those 19 days, water in the Cecil Hotel flowed through the same pipes connected to the tank on the roof. Why did I take this case? Everyone has a theory. Almost none of them sit with what the evidence actually shows. The elevator footage became a phenomenon. Millions of views, frame-by-frame analysis, theories about ghosts, possession, murder, government conspiracies. I've watched every breakdown. Most miss what's right in front of them. She enters the elevator, presses multiple buttons, steps back. The doors don't close. She moves to the corner, out of the camera's direct line. She peers into the hallway. Twice, 3 times. She gestures with her hands, strange, fluid movements people called unnatural. I've spoken to psychiatric professionals about behavioral patterns in mental health crises. What they describe isn't supernatural. It's consistent with someone experiencing a psychotic episode. The disorganized movement, the paranoid checking, the inability to complete a simple task. Available toxicology summaries indicate she had not been taking her full medication regimen. Lamictal was present, but at levels that raised questions. Anyone who has managed bipolar disorder, or loved someone who has, knows what happens when medication levels drop. I drove out to the Cecil myself. The building has been renovated now. New name, new paint, but the bones are the same. The roof access, that's what I needed to see. Documents indicate the water tanks sit behind a locked door. In 2013, that door reportedly had an alarm. The LAPD said the alarm was not triggered, but I've seen the maintenance logs. That alarm had malfunctioned for months. Staff knew. Reports suggest the tanks themselves are approximately 4 feet wide and 8 feet tall. The hatches on top are heavy but not locked. Anyone with roof access could open them. The question: how did Elisa get up there? The stairwell to the roof requires either a key or pushing through an alarmed door. The fire escape is external and visible from the street. No witnesses reported seeing her climb. No footage exists. I called the LAPD's media office 3 times. I requested the full incident report. I got the public summary everyone else has. 4 pages of nothing. No interviews with staff. No timeline reconstruction beyond last seen January 31st. One detail stands out. The night of January 31st, a maintenance worker reported hearing sounds on the roof. Footsteps, movement. He assumed pigeons or homeless individuals who sometimes found access. He didn't investigate. What did he hear? According to the official determination, the coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning. Documents indicate no trauma, no sexual assault, no evidence of foul play. But the report also notes something unusual. The position of her body in the tank made recovery difficult. She floated near the surface, but her clothes, including her underwear, lay at the bottom of the tank, separate from her. I keep returning to this detail. The report doesn't explain it. Neither did the coroner's testimony at the inquest. By mid-February, amateur investigators online had become obsessed. They identified a death metal musician named Morbid who had stayed at the Cecil and released an album with disturbing imagery. They harassed him, sent death threats. He had nothing to do with Elisa Lam. He wasn't even in the country when she disappeared. This happens when people need answers more than they need truth. I understand the impulse. I've felt it myself. But I've learned to sit with uncertainty instead. I thought I had the shape of this. A young woman in crisis, a building with no real security, a tragic accident. Then I found the maintenance records. The water tanks at the Cecil were checked irregularly at best. But in the weeks before Elisa's body was discovered, 3 separate guests filed complaints about the water. Dark color. Strange taste, low pressure in upper floor rooms. Someone logged the first complaint on February 5th, 6 days after she went missing, 12 days before anyone found her. If someone had investigated those complaints immediately, if they had checked the tanks when guests first reported the problem, her body might have been discovered while her parents were still filing missing person reports, while the LAPD was still reviewing footage, while people online were still analyzing her hand movements, frame by frame. Nobody did. I called the hotel's former management company. They declined to comment. I requested maintenance protocols from the city health department. The records from that period are incomplete. The question I cannot answer: how long would Elisa Lam have remained in that tank if the water pressure hadn't finally dropped low enough for someone to notice? I've been over this 100 times. Here's where I land. The evidence supports the coroner's conclusion. Elisa Lam was experiencing a mental health crisis, likely exacerbated by inconsistent medication. She accessed the roof through means unknown, possibly the malfunctioning alarm door, possibly the fire escape during a period of low visibility. She entered the water tank, perhaps hiding, perhaps confused, perhaps seeking something we will never understand. She drowned. I can't prove this, but I can't ignore the pattern either. Every element points not to murder, but to failure. A building that didn't secure its roof, an alarm that didn't work, a staff that didn't investigate, a system that let a vulnerable young woman wander into danger. Some people prefer the conspiracy, the murdered tourist, the shadowy killer. I understand. Evil is easier to believe in than negligence. Evil can be punished. Negligence just continues. But I've seen the footage. I've read her words. I've stood on that roof. What I saw wasn't a mystery. A woman alone, far from home, in a building that didn't protect her. A city that took 19 days to find her. Someone renovated the Cecil Hotel in 2021. They call it something else now. The water tanks were replaced, the alarms work. I went back there last month, stood in the lobby. The floors are new, the walls are repainted. You can't smell the history anymore. But I still have the coroner's report on my desk. I still have the elevator footage saved on my laptop. I still have her blog posts bookmarked, her words about loneliness, about wanting to be someone better, about hoping California would feel like an escape. I don't know what Elisa Lam was looking for in that hallway. I don't know what she saw or thought she saw that made her press every button and hide in the corner of that elevator. I don't know if she climbed into that tank on purpose or by accident. I don't know if she called for help in the darkness. I don't know how long she was conscious before the water took her. The record shows this. She was 21 years old. She was alone. And for 19 days, while people debated whether she was possessed or murdered or hiding, she floated in the water supply of a building that had already failed her, in every way a building can fail. I carry this case with me, not because I think I'll solve it, but because no one should forget how easy it is to disappear. Not into mystery, but into indifference. Elisa Lam deserved better. That's the only conclusion I can offer.